All right, ladies and gentlemen, the talk has got to happen. Now, a lot of people don't like when we discuss the certain things about the game, saying it's too easy and this shouldn't be in the game and this shouldn't be in the game. Well, someone's got to say it, okay? We can't fake it no more. You're sitting here saying that, hey, you don't need to run all these meta builds. You can play the game how you want. That is true, but it's just certain things shouldn't exist just because of what the devs have previously said. It goes back to the Freyna issue. People have said, oh, Freyna's too strong, she's too boring, people are just going in these activities and spreading poison everywhere, they're making my game crash because I can't see. The devs said, hey, we'll tune Freyna. So the devs knew that certain stuff was too strong in the game and they completely ignored it because here comes an S. An S loads into the game and just dominates the newest boss. She's one of the best AoE clearers simply because people were sick of playing Bunny or they just wanted to try out something new. And I love Ines. I think, her ability to clear ads and, throw her abilities around and just spawn trap enemies is great. But again, it just made the game to where it's just, wow, you invest in the character, call it a day. But before we even mention Serena, let's go back to OG days where your reactor, like your Lepic, if you didn't have skill critical hit damage in Colossus, you might not be using one ult to kill a boss. You had to spec into MP in your components, so you had to have a decent Slayer set. Now the game is just totally changed. It's you run a reactor that doesn't even matter to your character. Serena doesn't even need a reactor. Even Glay, you don't even need a reactor for Glay. You're just using it for cooldown and duration. And your components don't matter either. You don't even need full sets. Like it doesn't even matter what you run anymore. And now there's clips of people just running the new sniper and just one-shotting bosses with minimal investment. And I'm just sitting here wondering, like, every time we get new content and they know that certain stuff's too strong and they say, hey, we know it's too strong, so we'll nerf it soon. Like, Ness is getting nerfed next month. Why do they keep adding stuff that just bulldozers the game? And, let's just talk about everything that we're playing in this new season. With this update, you're playing the Sigma. Everyone knows that the Sigma is the best for getting your tuning board leveled up. It's if you have a booster with the tickets you can buy from the vendor, or you can actually buy them out of the shop. You can purchase with Caliber. You can buy the 30% booster for your tuning board and stack it with the 15% that the vendor sells. The game just encourages you to do the Sigma game mode, and you can do the two difference. You can do it on your board. You can go in here and you can be like, hey, I want to do the broken boundary or the isolated desert. You have to do this on high risk and normal, depending on what part you're going for Serena, or you're going for the flamethrower, you're going for the sniper, you're going for all the new stuff. But when you're playing something that feels like less than a 400% dungeon, like it just gets steamrolled and then you're just repetitively doing it over and over and over. And yes, it's not the best weapon XP. It's not the best character XP. There's other farms for that. You could still go do like Fortress Outskirts. It's the same loop. For me, I feel like that's another mistake. You're just doing something that, I'm running with pub groups and I'm doing them in 2.5 minutes, and you're just consistently running them and you're getting all these components. You get a lot of components when you finish and you're just like, all right, I'm deleting most of the stuff because if it isn't like double gold perked or I don't need it, there's no reason of keeping it, right? When you add something new to the game, it should be worth it in the long run, in my opinion. Then you have your tuning board, and again, you don't even need this leveled up. You're already so strong in the game, you just don't need it. This is just more of for fun. Hey, if you run a glass cannon build and you don't want to die, you can just spec your whole board into health so you don't feel squishy. That's cool. But when you add all the damage perks, dude, everything's just getting annihilated. And I understand people get so defensive in these videos. They're like, oh, streamer asking for nerf, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, the game is played fine, if it's so broken, don't use it. I mean, that is true. If you don't want to use a one-shot build and you don't want to use some broken build on bosses, then don't use it. But it's like, why would you just go into a pub group then, or go solo a boss? Let's just say you need to kill the boss 15 times. Like, why would you go in there and fight him for 3 minutes when you can kill him in 10 seconds? It's kind of just personal choice. Again, like, take a look at this clip. I mean, this is literally the one-shot sniper build. One shot in the air kills a boss. The way that the devs tell the community that, hey, we're understanding the player base and we're changing this and we're adding these changes, I don't see it. I see them just worrying about jiggle physics. I see them worrying about, who's got the next bikini. Like, cosmetics are cool, but like enough's enough. You know, I was blessed to be one of the creators that got to meet with the devs, and I had that interview and I posted that video, and I asked for harder content, and I asked for a reason to grind, and I asked for all, you know, the end game to be polished better. And again, we know that we're not going to see any of that right away. I don't think end game in this game will be touched until June or July. I mean, season 3, whenever that launches, there's a chance. The way that they're going, I don't think so. I think that they really want to keep their game. They said this in an interview with me. They said they want to keep it where you collect everything. We want the player base to want to collect all the characters and all the guns. That's cool and all, but there's just no purpose to do that in the state of the game right now. Like, you're not farming reactors. You're not farming components. You're still running the Slayer set. You're still running the Annihilation. You know, Void Vessel's cool to unlock the dog, but that's it. Like, you know, there's no reason to keep improving your builds if there's just really broken stuff in the game. Like, why can't you just go enjoy playing on your Ajax and your Eugen and play these off meta characters? You can, but what's the point if everything you're grinding for isn't really a grind anymore? What I mean by that is, dude, when the game first came out and we were in season 1 and even leading up to season 2, like, you had to grind and you had to go get these parts for your ultimate descendants, and you had to grind for certain weapons, and you were grinding for reactors, and you were trying to make your Haley builds like do crazy buku damage. The problem is that we're not really in that no more. It's just, hey, why use this when I can use this? Why grind for this when I can just totally ignore all that and then just go free farm the boss? And that's okay. You want to go pub stomp a boss and kill him in 3 seconds? Go for it. You want to go do Deathstalker, which was the last hardest boss in the game, and just go farm him now because you can run broken builds? That's okay. But if you just look at the repetition of what you're doing, everything now is just getting steamrolled. So people aren't going to care about putting cores on their weapons anymore. Like, doing 30s now is a joke. Like, people are out here soloing stage 30 Void Erosion Purges. Now, not everyone might have a build that can solo it, so you're just running with pubs and it's going very easily. All you're doing is playing into RNG now to see how many cores you can get to build. Some people hand in 50 cores and they don't get the perk they want. That's totally understandable. That's the RNG of the game, and that's the grind of the game to keep you playing. But when there's no purpose to do it anymore, when there's no purpose to even maximize your loadout that strong, because you're not, you know, you're still smashing bosses and dungeons with smithereens, but with Last Dagger being how strong it is now, and the new sniper being able to one-shot, people are just gunning in on those 2 weapons. Like, hey, I'm going to use those 2 weapons. Those are going to be my meta weapons for builds. And then, you know what? I'll mess around with other stuff. So it's like, you're having to put debuffs on yourself to play the game at a normal pace, if that makes sense. Because it's like, what am I supposed to do? Like, am I supposed to just create a new account and play as someone would play 3 to 4 hours a week? I totally would do that for like a challenge, but there's no point to do it, because you're just going to go to one build that's like, well, Clyde, don't use that build. You should make a whole new account and play on an off meta character with off meta weapons. That doesn't sound fun, because then I'm just waiting to match with people that have the broken stuff on. I just want people to understand that you have to be realistic here. You always can't be the white knight. You always can't be the hero. Sometimes it's okay to criticize the game. Everybody just wants all the YouTubers and all the streamers to praise the game. I love this game. I play it all the time. Anytime there's new content, I'll cover it. But if you just keep bringing stuff like this to where it gets pub stomped in the first day, it's not fun. I'm not here to hurt anybody's feelings, but someone has to speak up and say, hey, it's not cool, because all we're gonna do is sit here and praise it. I love First Descendant. I love the devs. They've taken care of me. They've blessed me with an interview. I've done sponsorships for them. I like Nexon, but again, change has to come. Make your end game a 3rd difficulty. We've been praying for a harder difficulty in the game, that if the top grinders want to grind, they can. But putting leaderboards in the game just to add difficulty with one-shot builds, that's just not end game. Repetitive, same old stuff, that's not end game. Doing 2.5 minutes just to level up a paragon board for each character, that's not end game. But hey, jiggle physics and swimsuits, that's microtransactions. Like I said, still gonna play the game, still gonna grind it. When new content comes out, I'm always gonna be grinding it. But for right now, until the devs address anything, it's gonna be stale. People have to understand that. If you're having fun, keep grinding. I'm not trying to offend anybody in this video, but again, had to get the words out. Appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.